Welcome to a very happy 2025 Shooting Hoops on the Boot. Very first episode here in 2025. I hope everybody's had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I know it's been great for me. I just got back from the Music City Bowl watching the Mizzou Tigers win that one. Jeremy, how's your holidays been there, buddy? I know you was a little busy over the holiday.
Busy, lots of family stuff. Unfortunately, I missed the final round of the Big River Steel Lion Holiday Classic with a toothache and a migraine to go with it. But all healed up, and what can I say? The Fighting Illini, I put it on South Carolina. First time the two teams have ever met. Illinois was the underdog, but they pulled off a big win. And other than that, it's 2025. How about you there, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching you do some games, and it was making me tired. I mean, I had to admit, I hope Mark's paying you well on the overtime. But man, it was Christmas and, Christmas tournaments, and I know we're going to get into talking about that some, and I can't wait to just get into this. Charlie?
My holidays were pretty good. Went to see my family on both sides, and it was just overall well. I had some allergies hit a little bit, so I kind of just laid around on the couch after a little bit and just watched some tournaments, watched some college football. Pop-Tart Bowl, I love you.
I love it too. I love that trophy.
And besides that, I was just pretty chill. Went to go see the Grizzlies play the Raptors. That was a belt.
And you're at a game tonight, Charlie. Where you at right now?
Oh, well, if you see right here, it's Bucks Charlotte. I don't think that's on the schedule, but if you look down at the court, there's people playing. So
there you go, man. Charlie live from Milwaukee. Man, you don't get any better than that. Hey, you never know what you're going to see on the Bootheel Sports Network. Now, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for a great 2024, guys. We accomplished some of our goals, got up to that 1,000 subscriber mark. We got some new sponsors on board, and we are just moving along, man. 2024 was a outstanding year for us. We've seen a lot of things in the area, man. And one of the most things that stand out to me was South Pemiscot's trip to the Final Four, man. And then New Madrid winning a state title as well. Those are some great moments. And my most favorite moment has to be the shot that I call that Ty Campbell made against the Puxco Indians, moving South Pem on to Columbia for that Final Four. That was some of my favorite moments. And guys, we'll talk about y'all's, but before we do, we are going to be airing the the top 5 games streamed throughout the year of 2024. We started out today, and that was actually a South Pemiscot and HAYTI game, and what a great game that was, man. Nobody knew at the time that we did that back in January of 2024 that South Pem would end up in a Final Four matchup. So we could be doing the same here already this year. We could have a team that we've already viewed and that might make it to Columbia. So, Jeremy, man, what do you got for 2024, man? What was one of your highlight moments?
Well, I'm gonna cop out with my first one just because it's so broad. But the first one is just I want to say that it was an honor and a privilege. And my favorite was to cover Jamonte Alexander's outstanding football season, to be at each and every single game and to see him improve on his statistics. Finalist for the Carr Trophy, that by far sticks out to me. And then. So, again, congratulations to Jamonte. We all know his accomplishments and him going to the next level. And then I think individually it had to be our defensive player of the year, Oscar Dominguez. Forget about the tackles. The fact that I was told each and every day how hard he worked and how close he was. And in Scott City, the shutout that Cartersville put on Scott City, Oscar Dominguez got his first career interception. We're talking about every level he's played. First career interception, and the look on his face, the joy on one of the quietest but hardest hitters in the Bootheel, to see when he made that pick, and then he could, ended up getting the touchdown in HAYTI, which was a fluke. Right. But either way, between those two, the both went to the Final Three in finalism for their respective trophies, and for Oscar to win his. But overall, the Jamonte Alexander's record-breaking season, and Oscar Dominguez coming in a pick out of nowhere and a touchdown in HAYTI.
I tell you what, Jamonte had a heck of a year. 11 interceptions in a season is just uncalled for, man. Wow, that's just crazy to me. That's a stat I just can't. I don't know. It's amazing.
Yep. Charlie, what do you think, man?
Go ahead.
What's your favorite?
I'm torn between two, and they're both from the basketball season. Now, obviously, I think the alley-oop is probably the best thing that you could see in a basketball game, especially a high school basketball game. And so going up to Notre Dame and seeing my personal friend, Quan McVeigh, slam a alley-oop just out of nowhere at the start of the second quarter was beautiful. And seeing Jeremy Abrams jump around like a kid who got a PS5 for Christmas was beautiful. I've never seen someone so excited for an alley-oop before.
Oh, hey, shout out to you because you had the camera work and you had it spot on. So, it takes two people to do that job.
And that's a hard job to maintain the camera focused while you're excited. And trust me, I know, man. I've been there. The wife's there. But, yeah. And Jeremy, man, you make some outstanding calls, man. I got to give you props, man. I love listening to you. And if my game's over and your game's still on, man, I'm right there, buddy. I had a couple ride homes. I've listened to you guys, man. And, man, special shout out to y'all. And, man, I appreciate each and every one of you.
Thank you very much.
What you got, Chris Brown?
Well, you stole one of my moments, when Ty Campbell hit that last second shot to send Top M over Puxico. But other than that, I got a few. I guess probably the best moment that I had this year was probably going to Caruthersville and broadcasting the game with Jeremy. It's this broadcasting thing. I'm sure we've all watched sports. I watched it all my life, as had Mark and everybody else, and to go from just a fan to broadcasting is a little challenging. It just ain't as easy as everybody thinks. But man, when I went to Caruthersville and broadcasted with Jeremy, of course, you get two people on the mic, you really don't know how it's going to go. But I think we had a dynamite broadcasting game. I had so many people tell me that they enjoyed listening to us and do the kind of the dual role, one for one team and one for another, that you don't ever really see. That's kind of an oddball thing. And I call that a Bootheel Sports Network original because, that's something that doesn't really happen. And that's probably going to be my favorite moment of 24 is of course, it didn't turn out the way the Bulldogs wanted to, but just the overall experience for me and my first year doing this was just fun. And Charlie back there, producing and directing, and man, it was just overall a great experience. And we was baking in the sun, but man, I love that. And then of course, Bridget just came on, and a couple of other things I want to mention was, the week one, Portersville football, Jaquan Bogan, he led the way, and we defeated a Kennett team 28-6. Coming in, Portersville had lost a lot of players. People didn't really know what was going to happen, figured they'd had a down year. They ended up, 4-6, but to start off against a Kennett team and Jaquan Bogan and that defense led the way, winning 28-6. And then another one that just sticks out in my mind is Zay Bogan. He was hurt most of the year. I think he came back, I don't know, week 5 or 6. And his first carry, take 160 yards to the house. That was an exciting moment for me. And so, man, I could list so many others, but those are the highlights for my year, for sure.
Yeah, I think Jay Bogan was actually our first week Bootheel Sportsnet Player of the Week, man. So, yeah, them Bogan boys, man, I tell you what, I had the privilege of coaching a few of them, and even Zay and Jay there come over on my travel ball team one summer. So I had 4 of them, man. That was great stuff, man. That's athletic family right there, man. All right, guys, now we're going to move on to talk about some Christmas tournaments that we had over the holidays, man. We had a lot of them. Talk about the SEMO tournament up in Cape Girardeau, man. SEMO Christmas tournament was won by Jackson. Jackson over Cape, 50-41. I know Jackson, man, is number 1 seed going in there, man, and Cape was a 2 seed. So you basically, as we talked about before we got on air, man, a lot of these tournaments were the seeds were really spot on, man. So no complaints there. And then of course Bloomfield, Puxico over Dexter, 64-60. And guys, you got to talk about Dexter for a little bit, man. What a surprising run they had in that Bloomfield Christmas tournament. Thoughts on any of that Bloomfield Christmas tournament, Jeremy?
Well, like we talked about, I thought, there's a few teams I didn't know a lot about, but I thought the seeding, hats off to those guys that bet together, because especially the first round turned out almost exactly the way it was supposed to. And for the most part, the tournament did. There was a couple upsets along the way. I think it was great to see some talent that we wouldn't normally see. As I said, I've been going to the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. I didn't go this year, but for years and years, and it's always so much fun. There's so much, just the atmosphere in there it's like a college game in the Sweet 16. So, congratulations to everyone that was there. And then that brings me to my other point. The only thing was, for me, it just wasn't the same because of 3 teams that were missing out of it. But all in all, it was fun to watch every bit that I got to see. And I think that, I guess, the right team won. I was a little bit surprised, which we'll get to the top 10s and stuff later. I thought East Prairie had an outside chance of winning it. I really did. But when it came down to it, I think the best team won, and they really showed out in that final game. Charlie, I know you were all over it.
Oh man, like I said, I was having sinus issues and allergy issues basically all last week. So what I did a lot was just turn on the broadcast, especially when I was in Memphis, and I'd just watch it with my dad, and he would always tell me, "Oh well, Risco, they're pretty good. I remember covering this game, Risco versus whoever," and I'd just be like, "All right, yeah, I got you. I understand. And he's like, "Yeah, it's Puxico's a tough team to beat. They've always been pretty elite." I can tell they've always been pretty elite, Dad. And so we just sit there, play some board games, watch the games, and really, like stated, the seeding was perfect for this tournament. I believe every single seed or every single higher seed won their first round game this tournament, or this first round. And then like you have Puxico having their dominant run. Dexter, to me, I thought East Prairie Puxico was the shoe-in finals, and then Dexter came out as the 3rd seed and just kind of wrecked shop for a little bit. What you think, Chris?
Well, first off, before I get into the Bloomfield, shout out to the Lady Bulldogs. They took 2nd place in a tough Lady Rules 14-team tournament. Of course, they fell to Donovan once again. Donovan's just a powerhouse. Them ladies over there, they're good year in and year out, usually state ranked, numerous Final Fours. So it's some really good experience for the Lady Bulldogs. Was really proud of them. I tuned in to that. I'm not sure the broadcast team over there, Mark. I think those guys that covered that. Man, they did an excellent job. Kudos to
it's
them.
KWOC. Yeah.
Yes.
Great job.
They done a great job, man, and they kept us in it, and so I was proud of them. And then, of course, the Bulldogs, the boy Bulldogs went to Clarkton, and they finished 3rd in that tournament. They upset East Carter. So that was a big, after having a few down games, that was a big deal for them. And then moving on to the Bloomfield tournament, man, Puxico, to shoot, they shot 18% in the first half, and they were still only down, 12, 14, maybe even 10, to come back and beat a Dexter team who, Mark, as well as I do, they're going to have the crowd at Bloomfield.
That's right.
It's kind of like, HAYTI boy, you kind of get tired of seeing Dexter win it year in and win out. But hey, it's like, like old Ric Flair says, beat the man, you got to beat a man, you got to beat the man. And Puxico did just that, and we're going to get into our rankings here in a little bit. But, East Prairie, I thought was a little bit disappointing for me. I figured, they would do a little bit more, but I know their coach is going to, going to have them turned around as we're going to get into the second half of basketball, the most important part of basketball. And, I'm just excited as most of the season will resume on Monday,
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, Chris, the Clarkton tournament was won by Risco. You can see I'm wearing my Risco Tiger hat, and it's really but say Tiger, but anyway, that's basically their colors. So congratulations to Risco as they beat Donovan in that one. And then over in the Cena tournament is the Campbell Camels, who've got to be a team right now that's probably going to be in everybody's top 10. I'd say probably top 5. I haven't seen everybody's yet, but I'm pretty sure there. And hopefully, I tried the last 2 weeks to get Coach Fowler to come on with us, and we're trying to work out a date for that one, man. So hopefully soon we'll have Coach Fowler to talk about that outstanding team he's got. And matter of fact, hopefully, if weather permitting, as we've been told that we have a storm coming in, so hopefully there don't get any cancellations on the games, but we may. But I'm going to open up with HAYTI and Campbell. So I got a great game to kick off 2025 with, and we go over our schedule there later on. Guys, that's all I have right there on those tournaments. Any other teams you feel like you could watch that maybe I tell you what, Van Buren surprised me in that tournament. I like the way Van Buren played. Twin Rivers came out of that consolation bracket there in Bloomfield, and man, with those 2 6'4" guys, they can cause trouble if they stay out of foul trouble. I know they've been getting in a lot of foul trouble, and then Bernie. Let's talk about Bernie, man. Coach Long always does a great job, and I tell you how small the world is. I go to Music City Bowl with 43,000 people, and the guy sitting right in front of me is from Bernie, Missouri. So we got to talking about shooting hoops in the boot, man, right there, and in Nissan Stadium, man, as we was watching the Music City Bowl. Kind of crazy, man. He was actually on the 2012, 2013 teams. I think he said a Final Four team there, man. So some great runs there. And, man, yeah, Bernie surprised me. And they got a kid named Morgan can shoot that 3 ball. I know they got a couple injuries, man, that might hurt them. But don't ever count Bernie out, man.
Coach Jason Long, he's – man, if nothing else, he's going to get the most out of the least coach that I've ever seen in my life. I watched him when he was under Brad Botch for some years there at Bernie, and man, he's just an outstanding coach, awesome coach to watch, animated, and I love watching him, man. He's going to do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeremy, got anything else, buddy?
Well, I got to Caruthersville was invited to the Big River Seal Holiday Classic. Now, this isn't really a tournament, more of a pool style. And I got to say, you want to talk about some talent and you got some free time, just go down about 20, 30, 40 miles south. There's a bunch of it down there, even an hour or so in Arkansas. There's a lot of talented teams there. I got the pleasure of seeing Gosnell, who Caruthersville defeated, and then Manila, which is weird because Gosnell beat Manila earlier in the season, so it was kind of expected. But I'm telling you right now, that Manila team, yes, and I talked to Coach Bell about it. Caruthersville just came out flat against Manila, and then, yes, Manila had the home field advantage, but they had to have shot, and I didn't have the stats exactly on 3-pointers, but I bet you they shot at least 15 and made at least 11 of them. I want to say they were just pulling up right and left, and I was fortunate enough to have Catherine, my wife, on the camera, and she just said she said to me at one of the breaks, she goes, "Those guys just can't miss." And I said, "I know. No matter what Caruthersville did, they'd go down and score 2 just like that, but then Manila would come back with the 3." Caruthersville ended up 2-7. Collierville didn't make the final day, and so Caruthersville ended up playing the Manila JV and had some fun with that. You could tell the difference in varsity and JV, but they ended up 2-1. I was glad to get to cover some basketball over the holidays just because the big long break. Caruthersville's next game will be on Tuesday against Malden. So it was just fun because starting here on out, most of the teams that we're going to see are going to be local teams we know a lot about. It was fun to kind of get out there and expand a little bit and see some of the talent from Arkansas, and there's a lot there, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and there's a comment by Sherman there as he talks about next year's head coach Chad Allen, man, he's a good coach as well, man. One of the best here in the Bootheel, man. As you can see, they played college ball at Three Rivers for Gene Bass and Memphis for Larry Finch back in the mid-'90s. Of course, Sherman, my nephew, and he does a lot for us too, back behind the scenes, man, writing, keeping up with scores and everything. And of course, throwing stats out like that, man. Sherman could be the next Al Jackson of our generation. I tell you, man. Sherman is on it. Thank you, Sherman, for that, man, and letting us know that, man. Guys, let's talk about our upcoming broadcast this week. We hope to get these games in. January 6th, we'll have HAYTI at Campbell, and then Portageville at New Madrid County Central. Chris, you're going to have those games, hopefully. And you say you got a triple hitter. Is that true?
Yeah, I think it's going to be at Portageville, though. Should be at Portageville.
I got you.
Yeah. I think as of right now, it looks like the girls are going to start at 4:30, and we're going to plan on broadcasting the girls' game and the JV game and the boys' game too. We're going to nosedive right on in, and that ought to be a pretty good matchup between the boys. Of course, the girls will probably be pretty heavily favored the Lady Bulldogs way, but yeah, Monday it's starting.
There we go, man. 2025 starting out in a row. Actually, I've got a busy week. I got 3 games. We'll also have on January 7th, as Jeremy said, Seaville and Malden. Jeremy will have that game with Charlie. And then we'll have HAYTI and Neelyville as well that night. And then on January the 9th, HAYTI is at Cooter. We'll have that game. And then also January the 10th, Delta C7 at Cooter. So we're going to have those games as well. So a busy week on the Bootheel Sports Network, we hope. We'll have all those games for you, man. So make sure you join us on our YouTube, Facebook posts. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that smash button and tell somebody about us, man. We appreciate each and every listener we got and our fans. Man, we really growed. As we said, we hit over 1,100 now, man. So that's great for us, man. Now, let's get into everybody's favorite, the old top 10 list. Everybody's got one. And, hey, one of our fine sponsors, Danny Glass, who just came on board, he called me while I was in Nashville, and we had a discussion about the top 10. And let me see, Danny and one of his buddies that go to all the games, they were actually, I think Danny spent all day in opening round of the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. He didn't miss a game. So him and his buddy, Big Dan, that's his name, they sent me in their top 10. And we're going to talk about their top 10 before we get into ours. These guys go to a lot of games, so it might give everybody some insight on what we got going on here in the Bootheel. He's got number 1, Puxico, 9-1, only lost to Thayer. I think we're probably all going to have Puxico right up there. He's got Campbell at number 2, 9-1. Says they are very tough, man. We know Coach Fowler will have his team ready to play every night. And then Woodland, he's got Woodland at number 3. They are currently 9-1. I believe they won 3rd place in the Seymour Christmas tournament, I believe, if I'm correct. And then Risco, 10-2, can beat anybody, they say. And then number 5, they got South Pim, who is 3-0. And, of course, their big test is coming this week. So we'll see South Pim, what they can do in that long break, man. They've been off since, Jeremy, when you had them back in December the 17th, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think that's right. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Hey, so they've been on a long break.
Yeah.
Hey, and they got HAYTI at number 6 at 5-1. Talk about their big games coming up. And speaking of HAYTI, Coach Webb just messaged me right now as we're on this broadcast, and he wanted to let everybody know, man, that they've been using this time to work on their defense. Had time to really study our team, work hard on defense conditioning, just getting tougher as a team. Going to be a much better defensive team and in better shape second half of the season. So props to Coach Webb. And, man, I love Coach Webb. I'm just really getting to know him, guys. But he's a great guy, man. Veteran of the military, man. And he's going to do a fine job at HAYTI, man. Number 7, they got Scott City at 8-2. Bernie at 6-3. Getting better, of course, but they're hurt. And then East Prairie has fell to number 9 in their poll, 7-2. They had a bad Bloomfield Christmas tournament going 2-2. Started off good there, and then they actually got Crowsville in the top 10, guys. We know Crowsville's talented. They've had a tough schedule. They said they need some big wins. And then the honorable mention, they got Zenith and Southland, that Southland team that everybody's sleeping on. I know they're in the Tri-County, so crazy there. And now let's go ahead and I'll do mine last, and we'll get into Jeremy's top 10. Jeremy, what you got for us, buddy? Let's hear some good numbers there, buddy.
Well, like I mentioned the last time, once this Bloomfield Christmas tournament kicked off and we got to see some things, there was going to be some changes, and of course there was. I agree with Plexico at number 1. I just think as of this moment now, I'm going to I spoke to Coach Bell today, and Lamont had a lot to say about the upcoming season. He said, to quote him, he said, "It's open season now. I mean, we've got through the tournaments, we got through the holidays. Now it's time to really get down to the nitty gritty." But Bloomfield Christmas tournament, I got Plexico 1. I'm going to keep South Penn at 2. I know it's the scale size is so small, but I can't put them number 1 until I see a little bit more, and especially with the upcoming matchup that they got coming, that'll really tell me. But the way I saw them play against a state-ranked team against Arkansas, I can't get that out of my memory. I had Richmond at 3 after the tournament. Campbell, I think people are going to sleep on Campbell. I really do. And I think Campbell, they're the Camels, They're good. They're really good. They're strong. I've got them at 4. Risco falls in there at 5. They scare me to watch. And they really control the ball well. I had Bernie at 6. A team that people are still not going to be talking about a lot, and it's a shame. I've got HAYTI number 7. I think that the HAYTI, I've seen practice and I've seen their game, and I just think they're strong. I think they're scary good. I'm going to keep HAYTI at 7. I think East Prairie dropped for me. Their last 2 games really what you come to expect so far. I got them at 8. I stuck Woodland in there at 9. I think they can make some moves now. We won't get to see them as much as we do some other teams. And I rounded out with Scott City, but Scott City is going to have to prove with their strength of schedule. It's getting tougher in the second half. So I still have Scott City at number 10, and then an honorable mention is Zenith Warnersville. And I'll get to see them here in just about 2 weeks. So I'll probably have a little bit more insight on them. But that's my honorable mention. But yeah, Plexico for right now is my number 1, and South Penn, they're gonna have to prove me right to get that number 1 spot. I know a lot of people say, well, they've only played 3 games. That's not all their fault. But nonetheless, it's trying to second half of the season, and as we all know, as sports followers and sports writers and whatnot, these rankings change each and every week. Charlie, how close am I to yours?
I really can't tell, I looking at mine right now. I'm going to start off with my honorable mentions of Crothersville, Richland, and Twin Rivers. I think that Richland had a pretty decent performance in the tournament, and Twin Rivers won the consolation bracket, but they were already 10th or I believe 9th in my previous ranking, and so a couple losses bring you down. Crothersville is there because the potential of Crothersville is bigger than the current of some other teams that are just outside of my honorable mentions. Then you go into the top 10. My 10 spot is Bernie. They were in my honorable mentions last week. I have them at 10 just off of the beating East Prairie, who was high up in my rankings last week. Then number 9 is East Prairie. I still think they're a very decent basketball program. It's just the issue that they've had a couple bad losses recently, especially in that tournament. Then Scott City, another one who's just had a couple losses in a row that dropped. There at my 8. Woodland's at my 7. I didn't even have Woodland on my list, not even on my radar a week ago. And now they go into the Southeast Missouri and Christmas tournament and get 3rd place in a pretty stacked field, beating Scott City to get that 3rd place spot. 6 is HAYTI, another one that's a pretty short sample size, but the potential of HAYTI is there. They are big, they're strong, they are scary out there. Then my top 5 is Risco. They got 5th in the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. They beat Richland. 4th is Zenith Warnersville. They're 7-2, and they're pretty decent out there. My top 3 are Campbell, who's just been dominant this year. Number 2 is Puxico. Even though they won the tournament, and I've highlighted here, Landon Burchard had 37 points for them in one of their last games in the tournament. You know, even though they have that championship list on, or championship beside their name, number 1 South Tim, because to be the man, you have to beat the man, and no one's proven that they've beaten the man yet. So South Tim has to stay at the 1 spot for me personally. How about you, Chris?
Well, you know, we'll get into my top 10. It's a little bit different than everybody else's, but you know, I looked at the state rankings and what's kind of happened, or for a few teams not happened lately. But we'll start off with my honorable mentions. I've got Van Buren. They're the number 17 team in Class 2. Also, Zenith Hornersville, Coach Kyle Moore. I know good and well he's going to have them raring to go in this second half. So those are my 2 honorable mention teams. Number 10 team, I've got Campbell. I'm not as high on Campbell as a lot of you guys are. But I mean, I'm not saying I don't think they can do anything. I'm just gonna put them down at 10. They're in Class 2. They're you know, I think they're ranked 15th or so. Number 9 team will be Woodland. They're in Class 3, number 15, ranked 15th. That'll probably move up a little bit because they beat Scott City in the, I think, for 3rd place in the SEMO tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect them to move up a little bit. Number 8 team, I got HAYTI. Man, that's just basically due to not playing any at all. I expect them to rise in the ranks. Number 7 team is East Prairie. You know, they had, like Mark said, a 2-2 tournament at Bloomfield. You know, but they still got the big guy down low, Noah Johnson, but they just fell flat a little bit, and so they're my 7 team. Number 6 team is Bernie. They surprised me, but then again, I ought to not be surprised because you know Bernie has been doing this ever since I've been around. You know, you think they'll be weak and they end up strong. Like I say, Coach Jason Long does a good job with them. My top 5, number 5 is Richland. They're the number 8 team in Class 1. They're a good, solid team. Coach Matt Klein has built that team up, and I expect them to keep on rolling. My number 4 team is South Pim. You know, they're still number 8 in Class 2. Once they get to playing some more, I figure they'll be in the 1 or 2 spot for me. But right now I had to drop them a little bit. Number 3 team is Risco. You know, they're the number 3 team in Class 1. Then I got Scott City at number 2. You know, they're always good every year, and I'm just going to hang with them at number 2. And then my number 1 team got to be Puxico to go in there and win that Bloomfield tournament, and especially with the number 1 seed on your back. That's difficult to do, and plus the way they came back and to beat a Dexter team, you know, kudos to Puxico. But like I say, I figure this, you know, it's enjoyable to do this every week because it's not going to stay the same. You guys know that as well as I do.
Yes, sir.
But that's my top 10.
So as you can see, a lot of the same teams, just different number beside them as we go through them here. And some of our newer viewers that might be listening, we only cover Class 1 through 3, so you're not going to see and probably want to know where the Dexter, Jackson, the Cape teams are. We only do Class 1, 2, 3, which is mainly in our area down here in southeast Missouri in the Bootheel. So that's the reason why, in case some of you are wondering. And now, my honorable mentions are Richland, Bernie, and Southland. So good teams there. And my number 10 team is Twin Rivers, man. I was really impressed with the run they had in the Bloomfield tournament. I actually got to cover a Twin Rivers HAYTI game, and they played real well against HAYTI, man, until late in the 4th quarter there. Twin Rivers is 9-4 currently. And then my number 19, I got Zenith Hornersville. They're 7-2 on the year. Like Chris said, Coach Moore, man, he'll have that team up any day, and they're going to be a tough game anytime you go with the Zenith or you got them on your schedule coming in your place. And number 8, I got Scott City. Scott City lost a couple of games there after starting out 8 wins in a row. You know, there was 8-0 last week, and I had to move them down a few spots. And then East Prairie moves down to number 7 on my poll with the 2-2 performance in the Bloomfield Christmas tournament. And then I got Woodland. Woodland is 9-1, and they're going to be a team to watch, man. I tell you, they're going to keep moving up in this poll. And I got HAYTI Indians at 6-1. Of course, they haven't played many games, but they are 6-1, and they beat a very good Osceola, Arkansas team this year too. So it's a lot to be watching out for there in HAYTI with a young team and starting no seniors there. And I got Campbell at number 4, man, 9-1. A lot of shooters on that team, Siebert and Fowler. Some of those names you'll be familiar with on the state championship team of Campbell. As the brothers, it is their turn to see if they can get a state title. Number 3, I got South PM only because they played 3 games. They were my number 1 team, but like you said, man, everybody else is playing ball. South PM has been unfortunate of the schedule, but don't sleep on South PM by no means at all. As you can watch their team today on our most viewed game in 2024 as they beat HAYTI there, and a lot of those guys are back. You know, they lost J.D. Morton off that Final Four team, and that's about it, I do believe. Jeremy got to see him beat a very good team from Lake City, Arkansas there. I got Risco at 2. Sammy Smith, the Fortner kid, had a great game, man, a great tournament for Risco. Of course, they got Baker, the field goal maker, and Eli Rogers there, man. Those guys are tough, man. And then I got Puxco at number 1, as you guys said, man. You go for a 1 seed in the Bloomfield Christmas tournament, and you carry it all the way through and win that thing. That's special. And of course, they got a lot of guys back from last year when they went tooth and nail with that South Pemiscot team and that game we just talked about earlier. So there is our top 10s. We hope everybody has enjoyed that, man. Feel free to comment on our streams here, man, as we're just getting reared up for 2025. Jeremy, you got anything else you'd like to add, man? We'll go through everybody and see if any closing thoughts, add-ons, tell us where we're going to be and all that kind of good stuff, man.
Well, like I mentioned, I spoke to Coach Lamont Bell today. You know, something we're going to talk about, possibilities of future tournaments and everything else like that. He's very excited. He's very excited about the Bootheel Sports Network. I did want to say personally, on behalf of all of us, thank you to all the new sponsors as we continue to grow. I will say this about the Caruthersville team, since that's the main team now. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of all these teams, but since I'm the Caruthersville guy, I'm looking ahead at their schedule. Now, don't get me wrong, they got some tough ones coming up. Let's just say over the next 5 games, Malden. They're off to a very bad start. We know that, but they're rebuilding. They're young, just like their football team was. And then Zenith Hornersville, we get to see them. That'll be Caruthersville off there, the 16th. Campbell, who I think very, very highly of. They're coming to Caruthersville. And then the Battle of the Bootheels, the 24th. You know how I feel about HAYTI. And then at Cairo, Illinois, which that's been a team that Caruthersville's played off and on throughout the years. They usually have a pretty good squad. So Coach Bell said it's open season, and what you're about to see on the floor is going to be a much better product, I believe is the way that he said it. And I believe it. I believe the Tigers, off to a rough start. Technically, if you include Riverbend Classic, Dyersburg, and Manila, they have a record right now of 5-7. They look better than that. Again, those are some juggernaut teams they played early in the season. But I can tell you right now, that sub 500 record, I do believe will be turned upside down sooner rather than later. But they're going to have to prove it with that schedule. Charlie Duck, you're going to be there for hopefully all those games. What are you thinking about?
Well, I don't know, man. He's still in Milwaukee. He might not make it back in time. He gets snowed in up there.
He's got time. Watch out for that snow.
I have some breaking news myself.
Oh, no.
I'm not in Milwaukee.
No, he's already back. He's already back.
I transported myself, actually, magically.
He even took his Blues hockey jersey off.
Hey,
Yeah, I know.
Hey, he caught
He
that
tried-
Luke Bryan
hey.
helicopter. That's what he took.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Hey,
That's what
hey, look, he made a wardrobe change too, man.
How is it?
The star of the show.
I'm magic like that. No, really, the game I'm excited for Crothersville, that's not the Battle of the Boot Hill, because that game will forever be the biggest game every single year for the Tigers and for the Indians. It's the Super Bowl down here, basically, and it's gonna be proven once again, hopefully. But I really want to highlight the Campbell game, because they're 9-1, and as stated in some of the top 10s, they don't know who they've really played that much. So it'd be good to see this tough, competitive Crothersville team play this Campbell team, who not a lot of us have seen fully play, and see how good they really are and how much they can stand when we get to February and March, and when the rubber hits the road, as they say. What about you, Chris?
Well, this week the Bulldogs, they have 4 games. I know we talked about the one on Monday where we host New Madrid, but they're also, weather permitting, of course. They're also scheduled to be at Holcomb on Tuesday the 7th. They're going to be at Scott County Central on Thursday the 9th. And then there's also a game scheduled against South Pim. It'll be at Portageville. According to Misha, it's going to be on the 11th. That's Saturday the 11th, and that's supposed to be a 5:15 start. And if all goes according, you'll be able to catch that game right here on the Bootheel Sports Network as myself and a big shout out to my cameraman Michael Jeffries. He's helped me during football, and of course he don't like to be on camera at all, but man, he does a great job helping me with the camera. And then I'm going to have my wife Tish is going to help me keep score this week as well, so that'll be something new for her. And we're just going to be busy bees there at Jim Bidwell Court and Portageville, and or on the road as well. But this week, 4 games for the Bulldogs. Starting Monday, we'll be at Portageville to host New Madrid. Girls game starts at 4:30. And if there's any changes, just keep it right here. I'll post it. Bootheel Sports Network will post any changes as they come through, as the weather, how that can change things. So just excited, man, to get this second half underway. And of course, Danny Glass there has got a comment there. South Pim traveling to Risco Tuesday the 7th. Man, that ought to be a barn burner. And
Yeah.
Danny is he's a new sponsor for us, and I've known Danny. Big shout out to you, Danny. I've known Danny for a long time in the farming industry and the agriculture industry. Of course, myself working at John Deere, and I've taken care of Danny, and he's taking care of me, and I'm just glad to have him on board. But Mark, yes, that man has traveled many a mile, and he knows all about some basketball, and it's glad to see you on the show, Danny, and appreciate having you on board, man.
Yeah, I'll never forget a couple years ago, we played South Iron on a Saturday afternoon. Remember that? We all rode up there, and there was Danny sitting there to watch that game, man. And that South Iron team back then, man, they were tough, buddy.
I think they're still good this year, too.
Yeah, that's when I had HAYTI and all them boys, man. Yeah. But yeah, Danny, man, I appreciate you. That South Pim and Risco game will be a good one. I'm pretty sure that our good buddies there at Ape Court will have that game. They do a lot of Risco games, man. But we do South Pim games, so you never know. We might show up.
But yeah, if after we get off the air, I'd love to have Danny, if you're listening, get your phone number, because if you're going to be there, I need someone to update me on, because I'll be on the road that night. But I want updates for sure, and also welcome to the team, Danny Glass and the rest of the sponsors. But yeah, I'd love to get updates during that. That would be something that people are going to want to know and hear.
Yeah. Hey, also we got a comment here from Bridget. Man, she just want to thank all of us for what we do. She tries her best not to miss a game, but she does, says she can rely on us. Bridget, we appreciate you each and every week. Tune in to watch us, man, and we love doing this, man. We did it for the student athletes that we have here in Southeast Missouri, get totally ignored by the local region news or broadcasters or whatever, man. So we started this as a group and hope to make it bigger and better, and we definitely did in 2024, guys. What a year we have had. Anybody else? Charlie, got any closing thoughts? I see you made another wardrobe change.
You know, I'm just magic. You know, you just don't look in the bottom right and you just don't see me changing my little pullover here. My final thoughts are just hope for a good 2025 competitive games this month. You know, me and Jerry are going to Malden on the 7th in my gray van. See, this is so. Look, he's getting angry right here. It's my gray van. We're driving up there in my gray van.
Hey, so we can we put a Bootheel Sports Network logo on the gray van?
Yes.
Patent pending, no.
Patent pending.
Maybe not. First of all, he said it was dark blue. Not even close to blue. I can take a
really
photo.
thought it was.
Everything. It's gray.
But you see Jeremy wears glasses, so you know. Get a man a break.
I don't know what done that.
I think there's three out of four of us that wear glasses there, Charlie. So you got advantage in that category.
1 second.
But all right, hey, Chris Brown, you got any closing thoughts, my man?
Man, I'm just ready to get it underway. You know, and you know, hopefully, you know, I'm gonna work on maybe broadcasting some Portersville Lady Bulldog games as well, because they're having a really good year and they're going to be right there in the thick of things. And you know, Coach Kelly Fowler, she's been doing this a while, and she's got another good group of players, and so. You know, we're going to see. I'll see what I can do, but I'd like to broadcast some of them games as well. And man, I'm just ready to get going.
There you go, man. We're going to get into the conference season. And Bootheel Conference, boy, it is loaded. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here for the special New Year's edition of Shooting Hoops in the Boot broadcast. We'll come back to you next Wednesday night. Same time, same channels, and different results, I'm sure, on the polls, as hopefully some teams will be getting into. And Shooting Hoops right here in the boot, man. Hopefully have some special guests. We were actually supposed to have a guest from Jackson, Missouri on tonight. I think he's having a little difficulty, man. He's new to StreamYard, so hopefully we'll get him on next week, man, as well. But until then, this is Mark Manley, Jeremy Abrams, Charlie Duckworth, Chris Brown saying so long for the Bootheel Sports Network and Shooting Hoops in the Boot. Thank you all for watching and listening to the Bootheel Sports Network. Charlie's got the fireworks going.